I think I'm ready to go through it all over again. Hi, my nickname is Metanoia and this is my healing story. This is the first video of two, and this one consists of me letting out the story that caused the healing process. Starting off, this will be your average sad love story that doesn't end how we healers expect it to end, just so you know that it isn't another type of recovering process from a situation other than romance. Although I frankly believe that my romantic situation is unique in its way and not so that sort of cliche. So expect something a bit different than your usual breakup anecdotes. Another disclaimer is that there will be a trigger warning for sexual abuse and suicide. Okay. Okay. How do I start? She was the most gorgeous woman I've ever met. She was absolutely beautiful. Her face was just stunning, and it was the type to make other women like me blush. Her style and aesthetic complemented her cold personality, but the soft and adorable tone of her voice contrasted with her tough behavior, per se. She was the type of girl who didn't like to show her mellow side. I remember she would always post TikToks about the difficulty of being open to others. Don't get me wrong, she seemed pretty social. I know that socializing doesn't have anything to do with actually being real, but the way she talked to all her friends made her seem like she has a certain level of trust with everyone, which made me doubt a bit. As I mentioned, she was a bit tough. She knew how to defend or protect herself from nasty catcallers from the streets, from which she had many experiences of that nature, and I haven't had that experience until now, thank God. So basically, she was someone who was brave and someone who knew what they were doing. Apparently, I liked that. We were polar opposites. I was and currently am the shy girl who needs to be protected from the outside world and their dark corners. I just don't belong in the streets yet. I'm still scared. Two people like those met each other in August 2021 and they got along. Our friendship started with only conversations revolving academics, of course. Keep in mind that these conversations I had with her were through text. I used to help her with some issues she had on the virtual platforms, since we were both studying in our first college semester and everything was new. I guess I consider myself a fast learner because I was able to assist her with any problem she had. Then, one night, we both had our first conversation about ourselves. I remember she asked about my sexuality, where I live, the school I went to, and probably other topics. I had the right to give her the same questions back, so I did. We shared some stories and anecdotes about our school life, and we had some laughs. In fact, we shared many things. Eventually, I thought that she wasn't so bad, and I guess that she thought the same about me. That night was the time I realized that we could possibly build a nice relationship and support each other whenever we could, because that's what I find and or look for in a close friendship. We grew close very quickly, and the relationship evolved to the point where we would talk every day. We would start off the newer conversations with a good morning or how was your day, something that college students don't usually ask, possibly because it sounded too formal, in my opinion. Although that's the usual occasion. Our exchange of those questions was because of interest because we both had the desire to know if the other person was feeling okay today and maybe cheer ourselves up, I guess. We also brought up our personal issues. She shared that she suffered from depression and anxiety, and she was a child with a missing parent due to their by then, recent passing. And then came the night that changed our relationship for the better, I think. That night, I gave her my first sign of what could be a faithful friendship and eternal support. After she shared that she was crying while remembering a time when she suffered from sexual abuse, I felt absolutely awful after seeing those words pop up on my screen. I never expected feeling so hurt knowing a friend had to go through such experience. The only thing I could do at that moment was let her know that let her know I was going to support her always and always be there when she needed someone to talk to. The sign I mentioned a minute ago was something like, I love you. It's not exactly that though. At that point, I didn't dare to tell her that I really liked her up to that limit. It was like, I love you, but a teeny bit less. It's a phrase used for people who are extremely close, but in my opinion, not in a romantic way in some cases. In Spanish, it's te quiero mucho, so Spanish speakers could understand what I mean. My guess is that she saw something in that support I always gave her and changed her behavior after realizing it. A few months after we've met, we were closer than ever. She used to send me videos she found on TikTok and dedicate them to me. I didn't have that application, which led to me feeling uncomfortable of not being able to reciprocate those signs. Not because I felt like I had to, but because I I wanted to. I managed to send her videos too, but she sent way more. Another thing I noticed of her is that she always told me that she loved me. And, and that right there is what fed my feelings for her. The more videos she sent and the more I love yous she sent, the more I fell for her. I was love struck. Our interest in each other was so obvious. I looked back at her words and could never believe the possibilities of them being fake. Right? Then the summer came. It was 5 months after we've met. Nothing new to share about this time. The only difference is that our constant conversations did start to fade away a bit. The everyday checkups would reduce to every 2 days, sometimes every 3, and maybe even 4 or 5. I guess we were busy with our own personal lives and trying to enjoy the 3-month break. Nevertheless, we never stopped communicating. Well, March came in like a lion and never told me of what was going to be my first heartbreak. During the first weeks of the month, she uploaded a story of a heart wallpaper with lyrics of a romantic song. My blood started to boil. In a good way, I mean. I believed that it was for me. I remember getting all excited, hoping that she may make the first official move. We haven't stopped communicating yet, and her way of speaking or texting still seemed like she had feelings for me. But March 26th broke me. She uploaded another story of a TikTok she made, which had the same heart wallpaper and some text about a girlfriend I'm not 100% sure if what I'm saying is accurate because she used the slang, but the thing is that the person featured in that video wasn't me. I replied saying that I wished them best for their relationship. She replied with a laugh and stating that they were actually friends, and the slang was a joke. I was genuinely curious regarding why she would even use that word to express something bigger. She told me that she liked her. I felt my heart heavy. I felt it drop. I felt like I wasn't able to speak. My hands started to sweat. I felt a great pain in my chest. I saw the world in my life shatter before me. My natural response was leave her on scene for a bit and prepare my final words confessing the strong feelings I had for her those past 8 months. I read her message on my screen. I read the words, "Did you know I liked you?" With all my ideas and voices in my head coming together. At first I thought that she was using me as an escape from her depression. But then I considered that maybe she really lost interest after not contacting each other that much during summer. I really don't know or understand what happened. And I never asked her why she lost interest. I didn't want our friendship to end. I felt my heart race. I felt it heavy once again. I want to be honest, I do not remember how I responded to those words, nor I want to look for our undeleted chat and read the text again. But what I do remember is that I told her clearly that I still wanted us to be friends. She also agreed. Since then, I never received videos from her. Her messages were less frequent. I was the one who had to start the conversations at that point. The first month of change of my reality was pretty difficult to cope with. She was still in my mind every day, almost all day. I used to think of ways to gain her interest back. And I was the one who started sending more videos to show her that I still cared for her. But all she would respond was an, "Aw." That's it. Even though our story was coming to an end, I knew that there was something I needed to do before it does. Long story short, after 2 postponements, we met in person. I decided to plan something small so we could chat, so we went out for a picnic. It was the first time my parents saw her. My father was okay with us meeting up, but my mother tensed up just like the time she did just by mentioning this girl's name. This was a huge factor or reason as of why we never saw each other sooner. And I could talk about this in another video, and I'll explain why at the end. That sunset, we could only chat for an hour. As you may all know, time passes by at least twice as fast than, 5 years ago. So I wanted to do as many things as we could, acknowledging the small possibility of having this moment again. Well, we drew a little bit. We ate a snack, chat obviously, and took pictures. I don't have those pictures anymore. You guys know that a feeling phase has a process. This process to happen, there are some steps to follow. These steps depend on the person who goes through the phase. One of my steps was to get rid of any pictures with her involved, whether it's text screenshots, story screenshots, and in-person memories. It hurts. It hurt so much that those pictures do not exist anymore, but it was for my own good. Frankly, I had fun that evening. The awkwardness wasn't strong, but we managed to have some nice conversations. Returning home, my parents didn't say a single word about us. They never asked how it went. That same evening at home, I cried without anyone noticing because I was already missing her, missing our time together, alone. Fast forwarding to late July, I wanted to plan another day out with her. Long story short again, she kept postponing it. I received a text a few minutes before heading out saying that she couldn't make it. That was the moment when I came to a conclusion that I should stop trying. I even decided to speak my thoughts and told her that I thought it was better to stop asking her out. Her response was that she had a busy schedule those days, but why didn't she just tell me that first instead of agreeing and canceling the last minute? We never met up a second time. After reading those words, the only thing I thought of telling her without ending up in a possible argument was that it's okay that she's much busier at that time since it was a way to deal with her poor mental health. My response was the last text of our whole chat. By the time I'm recording this, it's been almost 5 months since those last words. We haven't exchanged words, and absolutely I have known absolutely nothing about her life ever since. I have no idea if she's better, if she's worse, if she's in a relationship, if she's still studying in those classes she signed up for, or if she's in the same state as how our interactions with each other stopped. I still follow her on Instagram, although I muted her posts and stories. I guess there's a part of me that doesn't want to let go, which explains me still following her in the undeleted chat. I'll get over it entirely soon. I'm almost there, but I'm not there yet. But I almost am. So, as I mentioned, there will be a second video where I will explain the second part of this whole story. I was originally planning on sharing my parents' behaviors in depth regarding my time with her, like I said earlier, but then I had a feeling that this video could get a bit boring at that point, and I would possibly steer myself to another side of the story. So I will include that in the second video. That side is certainly more important in the second part. It is actually a situation I'm going through right now. Who knows, maybe my reality could go through some changes soon. I hope they are for the better. I will allow time to do its thing and see how my life will turn out months later. So I could possibly be recording the second part around February or March. Yeah, that was the story of how I had my first heartbreak and the story that caused my first ever healing phase ever in my life at only 18 8 yes, at only 18 years old.